Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Rafi. This time, I'm here to bring you an exciting story that you definitely don't want to miss. Today, we'll be diving into a film titled Big Brother, released in 2018, and starring our favorite top actor, Donnie. The story follows a former soldier and kung fu legend who decides to become a teacher at a school notorious for its troubled students. What kind of challenges will he face? And can he become the kind of teacher who changes the school for the better? Without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is Big Brother. The story takes place at an elite high school in the heart of Hong Kong called Tak Chai Secondary School, which is known for its unruly and hard-to-discipline students. As a result, the school lacks high-achieving students. We are introduced to a man named Chen, who comes to apply for a teaching position at the school. When the principal sees his resume and notices he has no prior teaching experience, he hesitates to hire him. But everything changes when Chen hands over a letter of recommendation from the education committee, proving that he is highly competent in guiding students. With that letter, he is accepted to teach at the school. Even so, the principal questions why Chen doesn't try gaining experience at another school first, or look for a better paying job. Perhaps there's a deeper reason why Mr. Chen wants to teach here. He was personally asked by the former principal. Although Chen lacks a formal teaching background, he is a well-trained former US Marine, someone who seems perfectly suited to deal with the school's problematic students. Let's flash back to a few decades earlier. It turns out that Mr. Chen was once a student at this very school. He was known for being rebellious and hard to manage, but he also had an achievement. He was the school's top-ranking taekwondo champion. However, he had a rival, the runner-up, who was not only good at fighting, but also a skilled pianist. The two would often clash, and their rivalry even led to breaking the nose off the principal's statue. Chen was then summoned to the principal's office for punishment. When asked why he caused trouble, it was revealed that he just wanted attention. He was an orphan, living with his uncle and aunt. Eventually, he was expelled from school, as even his aunt could no longer handle his behavior. Despite this, the principal was kind-hearted. Even though Chen was expelled, the principal found another way to guide him. He wrote a recommendation letter for Chen to attend military school in America. With that opportunity, Chen could transform into a more disciplined and better person. Years later, Chen became a brave soldier, willing to do anything for the greater good, even in the middle of war. But despite thinking he could find fulfillment as a soldier, he realized that wasn't the case. On the battlefield, he fought until the end, but not to destroy. He shifted his mission towards saving lives instead of taking them. After several years at war, Chen retired and traveled the world, seeking the true meaning of life. One day, in the Arctic, he saw an eagle feeding its young. That moment opened his eyes. Humans, like eagles, should always care for the next generation, no matter how far they've flown. Eventually, he returned to meet the former principal, who was now very old. Chen stayed by his side until his final moments. Before passing away, the principal left Chen with one final request: to take care of the school's younger generation by becoming a teacher. He believed that with all of Chen's life experience, he could become a great teacher. That's why Mr. Chen decided to teach at this school, because he was grateful to the man who helped him find meaning and direction in life. Back to the present day, Mr. Chen is assigned as the homeroom teacher of Class 3, a class known for being the most chaotic, filled with hard-to-control students. Most teachers can't survive in this class, so Mr. Chen must prepare himself mentally to deal with them. When he enters the classroom, things turn out worse than he expected. No one even notices his arrival. Instead, the students are doing their own crazy things: cooking, playing guitar, gaming, chatting, sleeping, and more.
Good morning!
Mr. Chen then tries writing his name and phone number on the board, only for the students to mock him by calling and making fun of his terrible handwriting. But instead of getting angry, Mr. Chen calmly offers the best education he can to every student and promises to make learning fun.
各位同學 Welcome to my class!
During recess, some of his students sneak off to smoke in the school storage room. There, they start plotting ways to get Mr. Chen kicked out, just like all the other teachers before him. However, in the middle of their activities, the group of delinquent students is suddenly interrupted by some arrogant basketball players who believe that these troublemakers are just going to dirty their school. But unlike what the basketball players expected, the delinquents aren't about to back down. They challenge them to a fight if they really have a problem with what they're doing. Later, while the basketball team is playing a match, the group of troublemakers shows up with a plan to prank them. They throw bottles onto the court, causing the players to slip and fall. As a result, Miss Liang, the most beautiful teacher in the school, steps in and scolds them. She punishes the group by making them write a 2,000-word apology. However, since that would take too much time and effort, the students come up with a new plan to prank Ms. Liang too, hoping to get out of their punishment. The next day, several inspectors from the Hong Kong Education Bureau visit the school for an evaluation. According to the data, this school has the worst academic performance in all of Hong Kong, and very few high-achieving students go on to attend university. One inspector explains that this year, almost no students from Tak Chi High School were accepted into any university. In fact, in the past 2 years, fewer than 50 students made it into college. By the Education Bureau standards, if this situation continues into the next year, the Bureau will cut funding to the school, which means the school will be permanently shut down. Meanwhile, as Mr. Chen prepares to enter class, it's clear that his students are plotting to prank him and film it for laughs. Realizing his students are bored with traditional learning, Mr. Chen switches things up. He tells the class that anyone who can answer the questions he gives will be allowed to leave class early. Mr. Chen had heard that one of his students often brings cigarettes to school, and when he confiscates them, he doesn't punish the student. Instead, he turns it into a teaching moment. He asks, what chemical elements are found in a cigarette? 1. Student manages to answer the question correctly, so Mr. Chen grants him permission to leave class during his session.
Let's go.
This makes the other students jealous, but they'll need to correctly answer the next questions if they want the same reward. By asking questions related to cigarettes, Mr. Chen not only sparks their interest, but also educates them on what cigarettes are made of, their dangers, and other facts. This unique teaching method makes his students incredibly enthusiastic about his class. When the class ends and it's break time, some students head to the canteen to get snacks. There, one of the basketball players deliberately trips one of the troublemakers, which escalates into a fight. When the principal hears about the fight, he informs Mr. Chen that 5 students will be expelled from school due to the incident. Mr. Chen immediately rushes to break up the fight. The troubled students are upset, insisting it's unfair for only the 5 of them to be punished while the basketball players go free. Mr. Chen separates the 2 groups and makes it clear he doesn't care who started it. He warns the students to prove they can be better than this. He asks the principal to give them another chance and promises to take responsibility for their behavior. The principal agrees to give them one final opportunity. 4 out of the 5 students still care about their education, but one of them decides to leave school entirely. Wanting to understand his students better, Mr. Chen starts working overtime to go through each of their files. He's determined to help them personally. Let's get to know Mr. Chen's 5 troublemakers, one by one. First is Kane, whose family immigrated from Pakistan. Although he was born in Hong Kong and speaks fluent Mandarin, Kane has always dreamed of becoming a famous singer. Unfortunately, he's been a victim of racism. Whatever he does is met with laughter and mockery. Because of that, he suffers from stage fright and struggles to speak when facing an audience. Next is Gladys, who receives very different treatment at home. Her father constantly forces her to behave like a proper girl, even though Gladys is passionate about cars and dreams of becoming a race car driver. Feeling restricted, Gladys starts dressing like a boy as an act of rebellion. She believes her father is unfairly biased toward her younger brother and only ever wanted a son, not a daughter. Then there are the twins, Bruce and Chris. They come from an ordinary family, but their main problem is their alcoholic and abusive father. Their mother left the family for a wealthier man, which drove their father deeper into alcohol addiction. As a result, Chris becomes obsessed with video games as an escape, while Bruce, who always follows his father's orders, like buying him beer, ends up being diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, making it hard for him to concentrate. However, Mr. Chen couldn't find any records on Jack at all. What is known is that Jack lives only with his grandmother, and after school, he usually works part-time at a restaurant. Every morning, instead of going to school, Jack chose not to, fill out the apology form, and decided to stop attending altogether. At the restaurant, he overhears a group of land mafias discussing a big business deal. They're planning to build a luxury apartment complex. There, the boss assigns the task to one of his most trusted men, Kang. The boss wants Kang to handle the situation, as he heard that Takchi High School might be shut down by the government next year. While Jack watches the wealthy men converse, his eyes are drawn to a golden lighter on the table. When Kang realizes the golden lighter, belonging to his boss, is missing, he immediately suspects that a poor kid must have taken it. His eyes fall on Jack, and soon enough, he discovers that Jack was indeed the culprit. Kong then orders his men to beat him up.
你夠佢打死我！
李偉聰，得智仔啊！
But seeing the boldness in Jack, Kang instead leaves him some money and his business card, offering Jack a chance to earn more money legitimately instead of resorting to theft. Meanwhile, Mr. Chen visits the local market to learn more about Kane. There, he finds Kane being chased by his own father. It turns out Kane tried to steal concert tickets from his dad's stall because he wanted to see the show without having to pay an expensive price. Trying to defuse the situation, Mr. Chen borrows a butcher's knife to defend Kane. But once he realizes it was Kane's fault, and this is a family matter, Mr. Chen chooses not to interfere and instead invites Kane to talk outside the market. During their conversation, Kane opens up about how he feels living as an immigrant in Hong Kong. He shares how his dream of becoming a singer has been crushed because he lacks the courage to perform in front of others. Wanting to help, Mr. Chen encourages him to be brave and confident, showing him that anything is possible with determination. Reluctantly, Kane agrees to sing with Mr. Chen. Without realizing it, people nearby start to notice how beautiful his voice is. This helps. Kane realized that the prejudice he's faced doesn't matter, because when he shows his true talent, people will listen. Back home, Chris is playing video games, while Bruce is studying. Their father returns from work, drunk as usual. After realizing his alcohol is finished, he orders his sons to go buy more. This time, they resist. They refuse to obey his demand, which enrages their father, who then kicks them out of the house for the night.
講咩啊？
你有邊日唔係飲醉酒㗎？
買定唔買？
你見我做緊功課㗎？唔買啊！
做呢個頭啊！
The next day, Mr. Chen visits the twins' father to discuss his children's behavior at school. Surprisingly, the father listens to what Mr. Chen has to say. Meanwhile, we see Gladys studying with her younger brother, who is actually more academically gifted than she is. As a result, her brother ends up teaching her instead. Their parents return home, and the father gives Gladys a gift box filled with makeup. He wants her to dress like a proper girl, and is preparing to introduce her to the son of one of his friends. But Gladys refuses. This isn't the path she wants. She still wants to go to school and hopes to attend university one day. Tired of her brother's behavior and her father's expectations, Gladys decides to take her father's car and drive off. Unbeknownst to her, Mr. Chen follows and stops her on the road. He gently explains that someone her age isn't allowed to drive, especially without a license. Instead, he invites her to go race toy cars somewhere safer. He'll even take her to a real circuit track, away from traffic. Gladys gets excited about the idea, unaware that her opponent will be her own father. Determined to prove herself, she races with all her heart to show she can beat the one who always held her back. After Gladys wins the race against her father, she only asks for one thing, for her father to stop restricting her and let her live freely. But since her father still refuses to accept her choices, Gladys wants to prove she can be independent and decides to drive onto the open road. This becomes dangerous, as neither of them is willing to back down, and soon they collide, neither giving in. It's in that moment that Gladys finally voices all the feelings she has bottled up inside. She pushes her car forward, and suddenly... her father believes she's been hit by a car. In his panic, he finally opens up about how he truly feels. He confesses that he loves Gladys very much, but she always seems to push him away whenever. He tries to do good by her. Hearing her father's heartfelt confession, Gladys, who had just been hiding behind the vehicle, becomes deeply moved. She approaches her father, and the two embrace and apologize to each other. Mr. Chen, who followed them, approached and said that from now on, he would help the girl's father support his daughter in anything she wanted. But Gladys herself needed to study harder at school.
喂，關啟程， 要走咗啦，上嚟換衫返學啦。哦，咁你等埋我啦，快啲啊！
Back at school, Bruce and Chris were enrolled in a surprise class by Mr. Chen, which was called the Heart Tension Program. However, to their surprise, the person who was teaching the class was none other than their own father. None of their classmates knew that he was the twins' father. As part of the program, their father was required to express his complaints to help him realize his mistakes. There, their father told everything, revealing what he truly felt when he lost their mother. This made him very disappointed with his wife, and he decided to run away and consume alcohol all the time just to calm himself down. Moreover, despite working as hard as he could to be a good father, he couldn't make his children understand. After hearing this, Bruce and Chris now understood why their father did all of that. Their father also promised that he would stop consuming alcohol after revealing all this. In the end, they understood each other and reconciled. Now we see Jack's daily life, who has accepted a job offer from Kang. Jack, now with a lot of money, was hired by Kang to be a drug smuggler. He was given another task by Kang, which was to deliver a drug to an MMA fighter for tonight's UFC match, so that the people betting on the fighter could lose entirely, and they would profit. Back with Mr. Chen, he visited Jack's house, but couldn't meet Jack. Instead, he met Jack's grandmother, who was getting ready for work. Without revealing that Jack was having trouble at school and was nearly expelled, Mr. Chen asked how Jack spent his days at home. Unbeknownst to him, Jack's grandmother thought her grandson was very responsible, as he was an orphan and always obedient when asked to do things. Mr. Chen became focused on something in Jack's room, a poster, and immediately went to the tournament where Jack was supposed to be. Before the match, Kang signaled to Jack to deliver the drug to the fighter. When Jack went to give him a drink and pour the drug, his actions were noticed by Kang men. Jack, unable to do anything, was beaten mercilessly by them and locked in a locker until he couldn't breathe.
建哥，收手 ！Have a drink. Drink 啊！放出嚟啊！ Shut up.
Mr. Chen, however, arrived and loudly announced that he was looking for his student, who was certainly here. Seeing that Jack was locked in the locker, Mr. Chen decided to save him, and now he had to face the MMA fighters alone. With the skills and abilities he gained as the Ip Man teacher in the previous film, Mr. Chen's instincts and reflexes made quick work of the MMA fighters. Despite feeling dizzy and overwhelmed from fighting them, Mr. Chen finally knocked down the MMA fighter whose drug had already taken effect. After the fight, Kang was forced to cover all the losses, as it was proven he had employed a minor. After they returned, Jack and Mr. Chen accidentally saw Jack's grandmother, who was still working, despite her frail and aging body. This made Jack very determined to repay his grandmother. He swore to Mr. Chen that he would improve and become the best in his class. Shortly after, news about Mr. Chen's background spread among the students. After his fight was recorded by the MMA company's CCTV cameras, the students admired their homeroom teacher and understood why he had been doing such extreme things lately. It turned out he felt indebted to Takchi High School, the school where he used to cause trouble. When Mr. Chen entered the classroom, all of his students respected him and were happy to have him teach again. All the once troublesome students became very diligent in their studies, and they received nearly perfect grades on the national exams. Their lives also began to improve, as each of them found the peace they had been yearning for. However, Bruce, feeling like he was a dumb student because he struggled to focus on anything, bought sedative pills to help him concentrate. But it was already too late. His mind was filled with excessive anxiety that wouldn't go away, and he received the lowest score on the national exams. This led him to feel lost when his sibling invited him to school, eventually deciding to attempt suicide at that moment. Fortunately, his injuries were not severe, and he was saved, though he remained in a coma for several weeks. This incident caught the attention of the media, which blew it up and negatively affected Mr. Chen's reputation as a homeroom teacher. As a result, Mr. Chen had to be summoned to a hearing by the Education Department. In the hearing, the Education Department revealed that Mr. Chen had not been following the prescribed curriculum, and he was deemed unfit to continue teaching. In the Odos end, Mr. Chen was dismissed from his position as a teacher at Takchi High School, which made his students very sad. They even chased him to the school gate. Jack and the other students promised to repay their teacher's departure by getting the best scores on their national exams. A few weeks later, under Jack's leadership as class president, the other students managed to stay focused on the national exams. Together, they tried to prove to the education department that their school could change with someone like Mr. Chen. Meanwhile, Kang, still monitoring the news, felt threatened by the success of the national exam results from Takchi High. He then devised a dirty strategy, using Jack as bait on the day of the national exams. Kang sent a message to Jack, pretending to be Mr. Chen, asking Jack and his friends to gather early in the classroom for extra lessons from their favorite teacher. However, instead of meeting Mr. Chen, who was about to leave the city, they were ambushed by Kong, who successfully trapped them.
打電話嚟，等咩啊？
Kang and Head. His men locked Jack and his friends in, preventing them from attending the exams. Fortunately, moments later, the students were surprised by the arrival of their hero, Mr. Chen. Once again, Mr. Chen proved that low-level thugs like Kang and his men were no match for him. As Mr. Chen fought Kang Man, he instructed his students to hurry to the exam site so they wouldn't be late. The students thanked Mr. Chen for saving their future. Mr. Chen then faced Kang for their second battle. It was revealed that Kang was the same person who used to be Mr. Chen's rival during their school days.
你玩咩啊？
你過嚟打斷埋我呢隻手啊！我隻手啊！
Because of Mr. Chen's past actions, Kong could no longer play the piano due to hand tremors. After a long battle, Mr. Chen found an opening. And, in front of Kang, stabbed his own foot to show him that he too could feel regret. Mr. Chen then apologized to Kong for what he had done in the past. In the end, everything went smoothly. The students proved themselves by scoring remarkable results in the national exams. Bruce, who had recovered, decided to return to school, even though he had fallen behind his twin. The teachers decided to call Mr. Chen back to teach at the school. After hearing Mr. Chen's apology, Kang reopened his old piano and started practicing to stretch his fingers. In the final scene, Mr. Chen was seen returning to fix the part he had previously broken on the Takchi High School headmaster's statue. Afterward, he entered his classroom and resumed teaching as usual. The film ends, and that's the story for now. There are many lessons we can take from this film. I'm Raffi, signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.